Okay, I guess we are on air now.
Nice. Um, Hello, everyone. Back again with me, Rendia, and Adil in weekly Sunday podcast. Last week we talked about electrochemistry. Right now, we're going to talk about listening skill. At least that's what Adil been told me in the uh, a few minutes beforehand. So, Adil,
Yes,
hello Adil, how are you today?
I'm doing good.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
I forgot.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Doing good, man. You?
Okay.
Are you doing good, man?
Yes. I'm good. I'm being do some. I am good. I am good. I've been doing some hobbies lately, but writing hobby, but not really much that going on as right now. So back to the main topics. You're going to show me about listening skill or something like that. Is that true, Adil?
Yeah, that's true. Well, okay.
Okay. I'm
So,
going.
okay.
Mm,
So first of all, let's talk about listening first. Okay. Well, when
okay.
we listen, all right. Let's start with the
Mm,
definition. What is listening?
mm,
Well, listening is a
mm,
skill. Listening is a skill
mm,
where you gather information in real time
mm,
with a human,
mm,
and then you
mm,
don't give any information to your counterpart, and
mm,
then while you are gathering information, you have to build a safe environment for them so they will feel safe, and since they feel safe, they will trust you. So in other words, it is like you gather information while
mm.
you build trust. That's listening is all about. and
Okay.
and when we talk about listening, people are actually doesn't people don't really use it intensely. People were just like, oh yeah, um, all right, that's right, and they're like just that. And if they are more better than average listener, be like, a fairly good listener, be like, they summarize what the counterpart has said. Like, oh, so far you have told me about blah 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 and blah blah blah. That's, at least for what I have known, it is like that. And but after I read a book, Never Split the Difference, where it teaches about negotiation, I got immersed by it, and I even bought a course about that. The author create a course, and I even bought it,
Mm,
and I really love the course. And I also take a look at its YouTube channel or daily blog posts, and
mm,
they were really insightful for me. And one of the things they taught me, like, some tools to to gather information and building trust.
I see. Mm,
And then, yeah, it is true that if we know these skills, that this let's the name of the company, the name of the group of who create these skills, these tools, these listening tools, the name is
mm,
Black Swan Group, and I want to credit them for this skill. And they, like, in my previous podcast, when I become the guest, it is about negotiation theory. I also talk about two skills that are really crucial for listening skill, which are mirroring and labeling. All
mm,
right. So I have experiments about this skill that they have taught, and basically when we have a conversation with someone, there are mainly five skills that we can use to gather information and, yeah, to listen, to listen well. First one is mirroring. It means that we repeat the last three or two words of our counterpart. And then second is labeling, which is, like, guessing, making an educated guess to what's the meaning behind a certain certain word, a certain speaking, a certain like saying. And then the third one is silence, dynamic silence actually. So when we go silence, we actually can gather more information out of them. So like we
Mm,
somehow tend to interrupt them when they want to talk, and we suddenly interrupt them instead of
yeah,
being
yeah. That's
silent.
not a good.
Yeah,
That's not a
even
good practice. The interrupting one. So I get what you mean. Like you silence to make sure your partner talk more, something like that. Is that
yeah,
what you
that's
mean?
true. In
Mm.
fact, after your counterpart has done talking and you keep silent for a few seconds, they could talk more too. That's crazy stuff. Yeah, in fact, out of these five skills, the most underused skill are actually silence, because people don't like silence.
Five skill. You said about
Yeah,
mirroring, labeling, dynamic silence.
yeah, and then
That's
the
three,
other
two.
the other two are open-ended question, which is quite
Oh.
like quite easy to imagine. It is, but out of these open-ended questions, it is only what and how questions. Now, what question is to uncover a problem, while how
Mm-hmm.
question is about asking an implementation.
I
That's how
see.
you have to take a look at it. But yeah,
One, two,
and
three.
then the last one is summary. Now, summary is, yeah, you talk, and then I paraphrase what you have just said. And after I paraphrase it, if it seems like there's an emotion behind your words,
Mm.
I have to label it, like, oh, so far you have told me about blah 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 blah, and as a result you feel angry, you feel disappointed, you feel blah blah blah. It is like that. Now, actually, there are two other skills, which is
Mm-hmm.
paraphrasing. But paraphrasing is like you talk, but you interrupt them just to make sure you understand what they are trying to say. That's paraphrasing. And that's kind of okay. But summary is quite enough sometimes. I think
Mm.
summary is enough for this. And the last one is close-ended question. And I generally doesn't recommend you to use this, because it isn't really show many information out of it.
Oh.
Now, all right. Now there is this listening practice that we can conduct, and
Okay.
it is really simple. The practice is called quick 2 plus 1. So I'm going to use two skills, which is mirroring and labeling, and the third skill is dynamic silence. So we are going to use to do this right now in this live session. You are going to be the speaker. So
All
when
right.
you become the speaker, please be open. Just become talkative if you will. And
Okay.
I only able to ask you two questions, which are what is what are things that make you passionate, and the second one is what about these things that makes you passionate. So
That's.
there are only
Mm.
two questions that I have now. The rest of the conversation, I only able to mirror you
Oh,
and to
okay.
label you and give you silence. That's
Silence.
what.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean silence. Oh yeah,
Dynamic silence.
you will see it. So
I get.
we are going to do it. Okay, you ready, Ren?
Okay. So as I understand that you're going to do this experiment that I should have the I'm going to do the main speaker in this listening test experiment that
Yeah,
you
you
have.
will become the
You're
speaker.
going
I will be the listener.
so you're going to try these three main technique like mirroring, labeling, and dynamic silence. That's what
Yeah,
you
that's true.
as far as.
All
All
right.
right, good.
All right, you
Okay,
ready, Ren?
I'm perfectly ready. Please
Nice.
do.
All right. So, Rendia, what are things
Mm.
that make you passionate?
Well, it's a long story. Okay, not long, that long, like, to be honest, but I'm going to talk. Well, my passionate things are perhaps, as of right now, I'm perhaps pretty much passionate in coding, more specifically in uh, doing research in uh, in the AI, to be honest, but not only AI, but coding in general. Like, I want to research in. There are many things actually. Like, how should I say this? Okay, first of all, I like AI, and the current technology has been rapidly grow, especially in the last couple of years is getting explosive. So I kind of want to jump in the bandwagon there, researching in more specialized field such as in uh, NLP and text to speech and speech to text, something like that. That's what I'm focusing on. But also I tend to coding in general, creating some cool apps like synthetic data generation, and then which basically I want to create a synthetic data for machine learning application, and also outside AI, I also try to create some decision a game theory, decision theory, some of my latest hobby project. But in work, I work as a web developer, backend developer, maybe part of the job description, to be honest. But that's one of the things that I am passionate with. So basically, in general, I like coding and do small small projects and outside work, to be honest, as a hobby.
So,
Okay.
what about
Mhm.
coding that makes you passionate?
Right. I like coding because it's kind of an extension of thinking, to be fair. Like, at my childhood, I like to think a lot. For example, like, have you ever tried to double a number? Adil? Like, as a like, not a hobby, like as a things to do when you are bored, for example, like, yeah, something, when you get bored, you kind of want to do something, but you don't have anything to do, so you just counting number like 2, 4, 8, 16, 20, 32, and so on. And at the maximum, I only get to 16,000 and 1024, I guess. I don't really. 098, sorry, 096, something like that. And basically, after that, I got it's kind of hard to do, to calculate in my mind, and yes, something like that. But the coding provides me the means to think, like getting information more rather than just in my mind. Of course, they are calculator, but for a complex subject, for example, like, uh, if oh, okay, this is a good one. If you have a clock which is in the when if you have an analog clock which has this hour hand angle and hour angle and minute angle, how much possible variation that you can create with, if you want to create a 90-degree angle, which the easy solution, one of the solution is 3 o'clock, which is basically just a 90-degree angle with there 3 o'clock, perfectly 3 o'clock. But there are at least 12 variation there, which not might not have the perfect time for it. For example, like, you could say three one this is this is the incorrect answer, but 330 is not perfectly 90 degree, because the hour for the 3 is going to be slightly more increased rather than just 30. So basically, but they are at least 12 variation. And if I think just myself, it will be take very long, but with coding you can uh, accelerate the speed of thinking, basically, and get the justify the reasoning in there.
Seems like you love math.
I do love math, yes. Well, it's been a long time, but I remember it's probably because of my teacher in my grade school is really not passionate about math, but at least he make math more uh, digestible. And also, I am influenced by Numberphile ever since I was in middle school. Like Numberphile does provide a lot of good math content, like factorial, y zero factorial is one. So, it's pretty interesting.
Seems like you came across many interesting mathematical sources.
Yes. Numberphile was the first like I got influenced by Numberphile at first, and then Three Blue One Brown, and the whole other math application. Like one time I got in the not in middle yeah in middle school, I guess I across one of the seven millennium problems. It's kind of interesting because like like in the story there were like pinnacle of the top on the field, like when your protagonist is going to be the best of the best, they can solve the highest challenge there. And I think that 7 million problem is very much the hardest problem that could be in this world, the math problem in this world basically. So I think it was interesting, and I tried to understand what is the problem really is, and but my middle school mind cannot comprehend what's the problem, that even I cannot comprehend what's the problem there other than the solution, like in the middle school.
Seems you are interested in solving these 7 millenniums problems.
At first, yes, but I got cold feet after, because I don't think the tools necessary to solve it has been invented yet. Uh, it's kind of like when you I got this quote from Terence Tao, which is considerably the world best mathematician, Terence Tao, and he said that we might not have the tools yet to solve this problem quite as right now. For example, like this is going to be a bit tangent. Like, do you know Fermat last theorem, Adil?
Yes.
Like, yeah, I know that you understand Pythagoras theorem, like a raised to 2 plus b raised to 2 equals c plus 2. But is there if is it not 2 but a higher number like 3, 4, 5? Is there any whole number solution? Now, that is very hard to prove. That is very hard to prove. It takes a lot. Like Andrew Wiles, 7 years to in making in secrecy to make the solution, to make the proof that there are no whole number that describe that. That could be in the there. So basically, he disapproved that it could be exist. Like there are no whole solution to that Fermat-Last theorem, Fermat-Last theorem conjecture. And they only Andrew Wiles only capable doing this proof is because there are already other research related to it, like Taniyama Shimura theorem, and then somebody else. I don't exactly remember, but they all contributed to Andrew Wiles' proof, and that's the tool needed necessary to prove it. But other problem, like let's say Riemann hypothesis, one of the 7 million problem, is we don't have means to do it right now. The only one problem that has been solved is Poincare, but that also has need some previous research, like Riemann configuration that the Gregory Perelman need to have that as solved. Interesting fact: Gregory Perelman does after he solved Poincare conjecture, which one of the million solution, and then the Math Association wants to give him the prize. He doesn't accept that because he wants to credit the Ricci flow, but the Math Association does not want to credit him as the Ricci-Man. So he politely declined. I don't know if he politely, but he declined the prize, saying that he doesn't need the money if he is the sole person who gets the money. He want to credit the Ricci-Man research basically. Yeah. That's what makes a math interesting. Like there are people there here and there solving interesting problem. They might be hard, they might be practical. There it's a whole island of archipelago of knowledge basically in math.
Alright, so actually we have been in this practice for 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And
sorry. It might take long.
seriously, Rania is like, in my experience, you know,
Mm.
like you are the, if I have to, like divide people in terms of talkativeness,
Talkative. I am very
uh,
talkative,
1 to
yes.
10, Rania is in my 10 right now. But don't worry,
Well,
that's you.
yeah,
People like you are, I think, loved by people in Discord channel in English.
maybe.
Yeah, I believe. So, out of this practice session, I only use label, so I don't really use mirror.
Mm.
So, look here. I know so many things about Randia. He love about coding. He love about AI. He want to work for advanced stuff in AI, and then he also work on some game theory. And after that, he love coding because it is really useful for his thinking process. And then he love math, and when he was a child, he think a lot about, be a curious kid. And there was a time when he came across many interesting sources of mathematics, such as he met a teacher who are very good at teaching math, and also a YouTube channel like Numberphile or Three Blue Brown, where it also interest well they also give interesting mathematics contents. And he also, he really he kind of really um surrender. I don't know how to say it. It's kind of really not really confident with himself when it comes to solving 7 millennium problem, because he knows some stories behind hard problems, such as Fermat-Last theorem, where it is takes I don't know 100 years, and it involved with many research. And he also talked about tools in math where it is necessary to solve hard problem, like in story of Gregory, I don't know, but that,
Perelman,
yeah,
yes.
Perelman. And then he, there is this kind of story behind a hard problem. And he also kinda believe what Terence Tao said about it is required to have a tool to solve these millennium problems. So look here, what
Mm.
does Randia know about me in this
Well,
practice session?
almost nothing to be honest, because you don't talk much, right? You only listen, right?
Yeah,
Uh, except from previous like conversation. You talking about this conversation in this conversation, right?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like almost nothing. You just ask question and I just answer it the way uh, that I have to answer, like basically.
Do you feel like I'm trying to understand you?
I guess so. Like, yeah, I think you are. It's obvious that you are trying to learn something from me rather than trying to speak like a like a conversation. It's more like you are the interviewer rather than us having conversation in this last 10 minutes, maybe. Yeah.
Now, do we
Hmm.
have a common ground here?
What do you mean common ground? Like,
Like, yeah, the topic here, unfortunately, is kind of related to my knowledge, to my background. So yeah, I know some stuff about AI and math, but in
mm,
reality, you can
oh,
use this listening skill without
mm,
having a common ground with your counterpart. I have
mm,
used it so I actually practice this listening skill, this listening
mm,
quick 2+1 skill in Discord channel English channel conversation, like, yeah, that's this English Discord channel.
mm,
And they have so many hobbies out there. Like, I asked the same question as you, Ren. What are the things
Mm.
that makes you passionate? What about this thing that makes you passionate? And then
Mm.
start from there. I use more than 3 skills there. I use all the skills. I also use open-ended and so on. But here I just wanna elaborate the mirror and labeling, but labeling, just labeling here too. So I mean, we don't
I
need
see.
if you are a great listener, you don't need a
Mm.
common ground with your counterpart. You can be
Oh, I see.
interested in them. Like there's so many break practice out there, right? We have to find a common ground, or at least we have to create a common ground. So we learn first about what they like, and then after we research about what they like, we try to learn those stuff. And after we try
Mm.
to learn stuff, only after that we try to talk with them. Now this kind of approach is taking too much time and too much effort, and
Mm.
also um, this way of thinking is you do the talking here. You don't try to understand them. So yeah, like sometimes people like, oh yeah, I'm interested in AI, and then because I have the same common ground with that counterpart, so you say, so Rendia, hey, so Rendia said, hey Adil, I have an interest in AI, and then I said, oh yeah, I too, I love AI, and then AI is blah blah blah, it will change humanity, blah blah. No, I'm doing the
Mm.
talking instead of the listening, and you become the
Oh, I
listening
see.
instead, right? Like if you have a common ground, sometimes you become the listener instead of becoming the talker, the speaker, because first of all, there is this absolute rule about human nature, this human nature stuff.
Mm.
People love to talk about themselves. People love to share information, and there is
I
this
see.
wired in our human brain, because when we share information, we make them able to survive more longer. We able to make them survive longer. So like
Mm.
so, let's say in the prehistorical era, you found some kind of fruits in a jungle. So you share that information, right, to your family or to your friends, and then after you share it, you have to be rewarded by their like their reaction of, because I share information, I should love it, because they will, sharing information is something that you do, you for like, yeah, we love to talk
Mm.
about ourselves, because we also try to promote ourselves too, right? We try to promote that we are also good about this, we know about this, and we also want to influence their belief, influence about how their perspective about us. So this is our natural tendency, but people love to be to talk about themselves.
People love to be heard, right? Basically.
Now that is also true. People love to be
Mm.
understood. So you see, I try to use these labeling techniques. So you see, out of those 5 skills, out of those 5 skill in listening, the
Mm.
most critical, the most powerful out of those skills are labeling.
Mm.
Yeah, and I have tried it before. Like I tried it with my, I have this, what is cousin but for female?
His cousins, there's no gender
Oh, cousin is
difference.
for every genders.
Yeah,
So
for
I
every
have
gender.
this, cousin of mine. Like I've met several days ago because of it Ada, and then I don't
Mm.
really have any common ground with him. But since I know this skill, just ask her that question that I have just asked you, and she said like, oh,
She.
I right now I am doing Arabic language. I'm learning Arabic language. So I said, why? What makes Arabic language interesting? So I said to him like this. I said like that to her. And, well, actually, I love to learn every languages, and yeah, so I love English, I love Arabic, and so I label her. It seems like you want to be a polyglot, and her reaction was like, oh, really? Like, yeah, yeah, that's right, I really love polyglot. It is because when I was a student in my university, I met this teacher who can become polyglot, blah 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 blah. it I really opened the fruit gate of truth in there. Like I
Mm.
really opened the fruit gate of information. So
Like she opened up. She opens up to you basically.
yeah,
What you mean? Mm.
it is really really crazy skill, and I've tried it, and the reaction, but when you use labeling, so anyway, so first of all, there's this first rule of human nature, which is to be understood, and no, to talk about themselves, and then the second is to feel heard, to feel understood. So when you do listening, you just doing summarizing or whatever. It feels so good because you try to understand. And the last one is they love attention, positive attention. So when
Mm.
you remember his name, or you remember about his project, his ongoing project, or you remember about something about him, and you call it out, you demonstrate your attention, you make them feel good. And I've tried it before, like several days ago too. I met a friend of mine in my high school.
Mm.
It was like 5 years ago since I met him, and
Mm.
I only said to him, "Hey, you still remember me?" I asked to him. "No, I don't remember you, but I know your face." So I said to him, "My name is Adil. I remember you. You are from 12:4. You are from 11:2. You are from 10:5." And he was like, "Wow, you still remember me!" Wow. His reaction was so, like he is really impressed with me remembering him. Which means I really give him attention. So you have to. So because we know these three rules, these three human natures, we have
Mm.
to demonstrate them. We have to show that we are trying to understand them, and especially that we have to show them that we are trying to understand them, and we have to show them that we give him attention. And by doing mirroring, we basically giving him attention, and by doing labeling, we basically showing him that we try to understood him. That's what happened when we use this skill. That's how it works. Yeah.
I see. I see. So, to summarize what you're talking is basically you don't actually need a common ground as long you're willing to listen them, maybe ask them to explain if you have something that you are don't understand. You can always ask them what is that, but as long you give them some like as long you give you listen and you basically care about what they say, you can create a good environment basically your conversation. For example, like your one of the prominent trait of human is they love to talk about themselves, like as your jungle analog that you talked before. So you say that labeling is the one of the most important skill in
The
the listening skill
the
in the
most
listening.
powerful, the most powerful.
Oh, the most powerful. All right, but I guess that's true, but I don't understand. Like, you said that labeling is making educated guess, or is just summarizing previous what they say. What
Educated
is
guess actually. So
educated guess? For
yeah,
example, like,
like you
can
see,
you give me example?
you see like um you see when my cousin, like
Mm-hmm.
my storyboard cousin, she said like, yeah, I love to learn many languages. I love to learn Arabic. I love
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah,
learn
language.
English.
Yes.
So I make educated guess about what's the meaning behind her words. So I guess it
Oh.
seems like you want to become a polyglot, and I got them right.
Ah, I see. So you try to make educated guess and not question, but yeah, make educated quest and ask them if it is the true or not, something like that, like a
Yeah,
hypothesis, right?
yeah. And somehow if you
Um,
fail, I mean if your labeling fail, like I did to Rendia, hey, seems you want to solve this millennial solve problem, you will correct me. And you see,
yeah, that's
there is this tendency, people love to correct people other people when they are wrong, especially about themselves that is wrong.
you're
So
wrong,
yeah, people love to correct people, especially when
wrong.
it is
Actually,
related to them. And in
I
fact,
see.
like you see, there is
Point to
this.
group.
Yeah, I mean there is this uh, game developer who makes military weapons, but it turns out that military weapons has false, like requirements, like has false features,
Mm.
and because of it, some of military people correct them by emailing.
Ah, by
Yeah,
email.
yeah, people really love to correct people when they know. So when you fail to label them, don't worry. You also make them feel good by giving him the sense of power, the sense of, like I know this, so you better not, yeah, like correct them. That's how it, yeah, that's, uh,
I think I think when you listen, this is just my current talk about this listening practice, and I think one of the most basic way to feel heard by people is to give them some kind of reaction first, and then you can elevate that by using that technique of yours, like mirroring and labeling, and maybe dynamic silence and open-ended question and so on. I think that's a good practice to listen. One of the good practice to be able to listen.
reaction
But
first.
yeah, at least you kind of have need to be some kind of reaction to making sure your conversation partner feels heard, at least,
Like what?
like saying like, well, mirroring is one of the reaction, right? At least you can say that I understand. Oh yeah, that's is that true? Something like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
wait, you say I understand?
Like when you explain something, you said, "Oh, I see, I understand,"
No,
and
you
so on. Like,
actually that's not the best practice, friend. Because when you say
oh,
understand or oh I see, you kind of stop the talking instead. It's like, all right, stop. I
okay,
see,
all right.
stop.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so
So
it's,
you need to label, do things like that.
yeah, yeah. If you really want to stop,
Mm,
yeah, yeah, sure, just stop it. But if you want
mm,
to go forward, you can do summarizing instead. Like after they talk about something, oh, so you have so far you have told me about this, and this, and as a result, you feel this. Now, it gives them the sense of understanding. So it isn't really
okay.
good idea, at least in my experience. So
Oh,
I don't.
do making eye contact necessary in to listen at all?
Well, it depends. So some when I read the like some people, at least some people know that when looking like this, they know that oh I'm thinking right now because what you say is kind of really hard to digest, or at least
Ah,
they're like oh all right. I mean I have the note, so right, like oh yeah I'm trying to understand you, or for me at least, looking at you like intensely, kind of really hard to
full of.
process the information. And yeah,
Oh,
it's kind of body language, gesture when you look up, or what it means you signal you are thinking right now.
so it seems that you doesn't necessarily have to uh, eye contact directly, right? When you're trying to listen, it's just you need to not only understand, but like feel like heard. You need to summarize that, giving some kind of information to to your partner that you are actively listening, and give some to summarize, because summarizing is part of process, right? Is a process that it is a sign that you are listen and give some interpretation to your what you're talking about to your partner,
Yeah, that's
something
right,
like that.
that's right. All right,
I
so
see.
let's go to our second practice session.
Oh, they are second practice. All right, let's go. Hmm.
So in this session, we actually going to have I don't know. So I think we only have like 30 minutes. I don't know. Let's try it. So first of all, there
Okay,
is this idea of calibrated question.
calibrated question.
Yeah,
Okay.
calibrated question. This is an open-ended question where you try to shape your counterpart's thought by giving them open-ended questions such as what and how.
Okay, all right.
Okay, and this calibrated question is very very respectable to the counterpart. For example, let's say I say to Randia, "Hey Ren, I can say this idea in two way. I say to Randia, "Hey Ren, your idea about your passion about coding is stupid and you are wasting your time, right?" I can say that to you, right? Now, if we want to use calibrated question, I can say like this: how would you explain to someone who say that coding is stupid and wasting time passion? Now this one is more neutral, right? It's more like I'm blaming it to someone else, not me.
Mm,
But actually, it is me who want to say to you.
okay, that's good. Good one.
Yeah. So that's how we use calibrated question. Now we can use it for doing debate, and it is crazy. I see the live session, like how they implement this calibrated question in a certain event. So let's have this debate, Ran.
Okay,
So we have this idea that TikTok is bad for kids.
good.
Now
Okay.
you
Mhm.
go for the true. You agree with this statement.
Okay, I agree.
Okay, okay. No, not bad for kids. Bad for society, not for kids. Okay, no, bad
In general, okay.
bad for people. TikTok is
Mm.
bad for
And
people.
and you try to disagree with me.
Yeah, try to disagree with you. Alright. No,
Good.
actually, I haven't tried it before too, but let's try.
If you want to, if it makes you easier, I could try to switch like TikTok. Is a good for environment if good for if you want to, but whichever makes you feel more comfortable.
Alright. I guess I take
What's with?
the agree one because I think it is more easier. I think it is easier for me to think that TikTok is bad.
Okay, TikTok is
So
good,
TikTok
bad.
is good for you, right? You
All
ready?
right, I am ready. Yes.
Alright. Now I'm going to make the first move. Okay. So Ren, look. How would you explain to an idea that TikTok is, taking so much time of people, and then they become unproductive, and somehow they also become, you know, uh, fear of missing out. They become jealous to other people. How would you explain that TikTok is bad, knowing these facts?
Hmm. I think blaming on TikTok is a bit far-fetched. Do you think? Don't you think? Because TikTok is almost the same as the other social media such as Instagram and Facebook and YouTube Short or YouTube in general. I think blaming on TikTok itself is not is too far. I guess TikTok also can be good because like if the I think it's not a problem of the TikTok itself. It's more like the content that you have, the content that you presented by TikTok, of course. But for example, if you always look for new things, like there are tech tips in TikTok, and then the algorithm of TikToks dictates that you are liking this tech tips or any kind of your passion. They will only show the things that you are interested to. But if you only use TikTok as a means of looking for other, looking for, let's say, or funny content. Maybe funny is a pretty good way, but it's not. Or maybe some girl dancing in TikTok. You know what I mean? Like not very productive videos to watch. Yeah, well, that means you have going to have a bad experience with TikTok rather than just as you said. So I think it's not inherently TikTok's fault that is bad for you. It's more like uh, the content that you have is bad for you, just like any kind of social media. That's what I think.
Alright, first
So
of all, what's the problem here?
I think the problem is the people who use TikTok and its content basically. So far, I think they are right now. TikTok users are saturated in not the most productive videos because maybe it's because it's gained a lot of attention, maybe, uh, or there are so many that TikTok has no choice but to show the not so productive video for me.
All right.
But it's also the same problem as the other social media. Mm.
All right. So you mean that TikTok is, the people here are, most of users in TikTok are using TikTok in the most unproductive ways. And then
Yeah.
this
Mm.
notion, even this, phenomenon is actually also occurs in many social medias beside TikToks.
That's
Right.
correct.
Then how will you solve this problem?
Well, and it's depend on your side, to be honest. If you are a TikTok worker, sorry, if you are a programmer in TikTok, maybe you could try to make sure that to make the algorithm more more showing the productive ones instead of just the most attention one. Or but it's kind of hard if you have to be a TikTok programmer, and also maybe TikTok doesn't have that kind of noble intention. I don't know, but if you are just a user, you might try follow more productive videos, or that the ones that you make you learn something rather than the unproductive one, like girl dancing or something like that. Uh, the more that you see the tech tips, the productive one, the more content that you are going to see, the more productive content that you will see, because it's TikTok algorithm uh, that you dictates what you're going to see in the future, the prediction, something like that. It also the same as in the YouTube and the Instagram and Facebook.
All right. So you mean that as since we TikTok most likely doesn't have any noble intention, and then for ordinary people, you
Mm-hmm.
suggest them to follow productive, informative content
Mm-hmm.
creators.
Content. Mm, that's what I think.
All right. Now, what would you do if you are a policymaker knowing this problem in Indonesia?
Hmm. This is a bit hard topic because it involves freedom of speech. Yes, because you're trying to making sure that the content that people has is directed to productive things, right? And sometimes that's a breach of freedom, at least in Indonesia, or even more in US. US wants to be like that, but it cannot, because the first amendment says that you have to be free, not directed by. But anyway, China implement that, and he successfully did it. So their TikTok is heavily moderated by them. Indonesia could have some moderate in there, especially in videos that very uh, violate the not so great, violate the law. For example, like S S H SHRA Sarah, or maybe NSFW content. But he can try. The government could try that, but to be honest, the only thing that we could know, since TikTok is not our company, is like impose some heavy moderated content in TikTok, like Twitter, basically what I mean. Even
Or
though it's not significant, it could be not well done. To be honest, yeah.
so what will happen if we just ban TikTok altogether?
First of all, India did it, and it's not going well. To be honest, they try it, but it's not going well. I think the way I think banning TikTok is not a great way, since we have such a large user base, and people doesn't have a good reaction if something that big just suddenly get banned. I think it's better just to the way that will think about solution in conjunction to previous my answer previously, like try to softly moderate content in TikTok, like try to making sure that talk to the TikTok company to make sure that uh, unproductive video is lessons rather than more productive video. I mean, the way that I think is just to filter bad content, in misinformation, or maybe, yes, such as misinformation, and then bad advice in general. Try to implement that kind of filter if possible, like bad word filter, maybe something like that.
All right. So how about if we just ban TikTok?
Hmm?
You know, like TikTok is bad, right? As you know, the main premise here, I support that TikTok is bad, right?
Hmm.
Now, are we agree that TikTok is bad?
No, like I said before, TikTok is not inherently bad. It's just the content that we have is bad.
All right. Um, how will we, you know, like how are, how are we going to accept that, you know, TikTok mostly make people unproductive? Now, how would you react to this? For right now, at least, most people are unproductive. Who most users are unproductive using TikTok. Now, how would you explain this occasion?
Like I said before, I know for I'm like the data, like I mean, it's not data. Perhaps it's more like experience. Like my friend or my family use TikTok a lot. I can say, yeah, I agree with you. TikTok may or may not may have make some wasting time unproductively, and but it's not like I said before, it's not inherently TikTok's fault. It's more like what they seeing the algorithm, the user, the content of the TikTok is saturated by unproductive things, videos. And I think the way to justify it is like that, like the content itself is bad. You're trying to if you don't want that, you should. It's dependent on preference, to be honest. Like if you do you do you want to continue this whole unproductive videos, or not? If you are comfortable with it, then sure, you can watch it whatever you want. But if you don't want to do that as a user, you should watch more productive video, and the TikTok algorithm will follows to show you more specific related videos. Mm.
Alright, so Ren, actually, you only said like to a certain person and certain person.
Mm.
Now, we talk about the whole, you know, like the global, the large, most
Yeah,
user,
right.
and you know, like when you become a policymaker, you
Mm.
said that you know we have to be like China.
Not as much as China, but rather like a soft one, like a more moderated, but not as hard as China, to be honest. Mm. Be fair.
Alright. Now, how will you moderate, uh, you know, this TikTok content and stuff?
Like I said before, we should start at filtering NSW and Sarah stuff, especially in misinformation stuff. You can try to create some kind of little feature in there, like for example, like user context, like Twitter. With Twitter right now has a context, right, that a reader can justify, like they can user generated context, and then uh, we could see that this is not good video or bad video in general, something like that.
Alright, I
But it
think,
mm,
alright.
mm.
Right, I think we can stop it now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
you
mean,
know, it is just my first time doing so I don't
mm.
know how will it end up. But anyway, how do you feel after our conversation here?
I don't know. I don't think you really. I mean, I see that you. I know this is a focus on open-ended question, right? But it seems like it's not a good debate to me, because you haven't proved, like you don't justify your reasoning. TikTok is good. All that I can sorry, TikTok is bad because all that I can say is giving some fact about TikTok, why TikTok is not inherently bad. But you said, are you agree that TikTok is sorry, I try to justify why inherently TikTok doesn't do bad things. It could be do good things too, but you this like your question only meant that you are not listening, a sign of not listening, because you only said that TikTok is bad. Do you agree with it? After all I said about TikTok is not inherently bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that,
Do you
man.
see that? Yeah,
But
it's
you
fine.
see,
I mean,
yeah,
mhm.
all right. Now, do you feel like we are trying to achieve a solution here?
No, because you don't justify. You don't give your arguments in this debate.
But you are
You just
thinking
only
about
ask
a
questions.
solution, right? You are thinking about solution, like after,
Yes, but only my solution. You see,
and I'll accept that. What will happen if I accept that solution of yours? Did you? What will happen?
I don't know. Like, I feel like it would be not a good. I mean, I certainly be happy, but to be honest, it wasn't a good conversation, a good debate for me.
Oh
Because
yeah,
you see, in if you have you ever in a debate competition before, Adil?
well, it is like a small scale debate, just a training, but not really like a competition.
If I did the same as you, like only asking
I will,
question, would
you
you?
will definitely lose.
Yeah, I mean, would you say it's a good debate? I mean, I don't forget the losing or winning part. Are you going to say that is a good debate or not?
Well, honestly, all right. First of all, yes, I think the idea that we try to find, like a debate where we try to defend our position. I
Mm.
think this is a wrong experiment way of
Yeah,
using
yeah, of course.
calibrated
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
But
But it's a good open-ended question to. I
but
get it. Yeah.
but we seems like we solved the problem together, right?
No,
At
I
least
don't know.
I guide you to think about what to do as to solve this
Hmm.
problem.
Okay, let's say this is my opinion. But I think the way that you guided in previous example is not good enough for me, because you only have a leading question, like leading with question, which is for me as a debater is not good enough. At even in the discussion, that is not a good discussion, to be honest, because you only led with question and without justification in other side of the debate, to be honest. But this is a listening practice, so I don't really mind, and you should too. But in reality, it's not a good discussion. But I get what you're trying to do here. Like, this a good open-ended question? Does drive me to talking more and more about solution from my side, at least, like talking. You can see what my argument is, right, from the previous conversation, like previous debate, Adil.
Yeah, I know. I kind
Yeah,
of get it.
and that's the point, right, of this practice listening. You asking me a question, open-ended question, and I talk and talk more about my thinking, what line of thinking that I have having right now. So it makes you gather information. It makes you really gather your information, and then basically you can try to, in real debate, you should after gathering that information, you should try to formulate a good rebuttal, or yeah,
Argument.
a good argument and rebuttal to my line of question. But you did not, because you try to have an open-ended question. That's what I think.
Yeah, saying this is the wrong way to to practice calibrated
Yeah.
question. Yeah, when you have a kids and you
Mm-hmm.
kind of try to make them sleep
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, instead of like turning off the internet altogether or just doing forcing stuff together, based on the book or based on the course, you can make them think through this kind of calibrated question. For
I see.
example, like, son, right now is 10 p.m. and we have make a term about this before that you will sleep at 10 p.m. Now you are still playing. How am I supposed to accept this? Now, this is the kind of forced empathy. So our counterpart will think about our position. We will think about how we will feel if he does that.
Mm.
So this is actually how you use calibrated question. But kinda really weird because calibrated question could be used to shape our counterpart thoughts. But yeah,
Yeah, leading, right? Leading, the leading question.
yeah. I mean, like,
Mm.
I was thinking like, all right. So here's your thought. Now I'll give you my this calibrated question with this constraint, with these constraints,
Mm.
and then you will give back to me that this constraint could be, overlooked. But I'll give you another constraint, and then you kinda uh, counter it. But at some point, because I give you constraint, constraint, and constraint, you feel like you are negotiating with yourself. You are thinking about your belief about a certain statement, and like at a certain point, it's like, oh yeah, so I think about it. You are right.
Mm.
This is the kind of thought shaping that I think it is cool, but it is really hard at the end of the day to change someone's belief.
But I talk about your like the question that shape your thought, right? But I say that watch out for making the shaping your thought, like for example, like is we call this leading question, which you assume something when you asking something, even if it is open ended. Uh, in research, like in scientific research, we try to avoid biased question, right? Because it kind of makes the constraint in your partner basically. So I think one of the I think leading question or calibrated question is good. Just try to avoid any assumption in there for me.
For it, assumption.
Yeah,
I
like
see. Like
like
what?
do you agree that TikTok is bad? That's after I'll say about why TikTok is not bad. It's kind of
Yeah, I
a
mean,
weird question. Mm.
sometimes I have to find an idea where it is
Yeah,
indisputable for both of us. You agree and I agree.
common ground, a common
Yeah, I
ground.
think you can say that as common ground where both of us really believe that this is true. And then after we
Mm.
believe that this is true, we kind of discuss on, how it will work
I
afterward.
think I can agree with you about listening doesn't need a common ground because you are just listening other people talk, right? But if you want to have a good discussion, you need to have some kind of common ground.
Oh, discussion.
Yeah,
Like
because
we tend to think through together about a solution.
yes, because in the discussion you need to have at the same level, because listening is not the same in the same level, because one side is to speak, one side is listening, but in discussion we both have to speak and listen at the
Oh yeah,
same,
that's
not at the
that's
same.
that's a good like you give a good point there. Instead
Mm,
of thinking of debating, maybe using calibrated question to create a good discussion. Yeah, that's
might
and
be.
and discussion is like solving a problem together. At least a solution out of a discussion, right? Yeah,
Mm.
that's a good way. If I think about it, you are right, man. That's right. I should try it.
Maybe in the next conversation in English Discord.
Yeah, that's right,
I
man.
don't know, but in the later discussion.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
that's true, man. All right, I guess it is already 15:13, so we kinda already having
Yeah,
um.
yeah.
So,
Okay, I
Ran.
agree. But let me just summarize all of it for you
Oh,
as a
sure.
part of. Yeah. So you talk about listening and practice listening, but in summary, there are many techniques to do it. But the several the several techniques that you talk about is mirroring, which mirrors several keyword in previous conversation to your partner. labeling, making educated guess when talking to your partner, and then dynamic silence is a silence that makes your partner talks more. Uh, and then open-ended question is to just you lead a question, might be some calibrated question to ensure your partner not only talk more but also like give some more information like other than just previous topics. You lead the line of question there because from A to B and how it connected, something like that. That's what I get from it.
Yeah.
Secondly, yeah, that's the experiment. But in reality, in truth, listening is there are three main function when you're listening. One is to gather information, two is making a safe environment, and three is to build trust. Right, Adil?
Yes, that's right.
Like that. That's the main. Uh, why do you need to listen? And usually, a good listener is not just saying uh-huh and give some weak reaction to your partner. Is also try to make sure that you try to sign the partner that you are actively listen by, for example, like you thinking about it, for example, like you giving summary for it. Summary needs thinking, right? And it shows that you are actively listening. You said about books about never split the difference book that show the techniques of it, like the mirroring, labeling, dynamic science, etc. Is it by Black Swan Group, or is it a different
Yeah, the author
uh,
is the name of the author is Chris Voss, and
yeah, yeah.
Touch Up and Touch what I kind of forgot. And this Chris Voss guy is a CEO and I don't know, the founder of Bexan Group company.
I see. Hmm, that's good. Okay. So it is almost it is the same like from the Black Swan Group. And then in listening, you actually don't have to you don't need a common background. You just kind of asking them something and maybe listen them, summarizing them, whatever that what they talk about. It's good. For me, I think it's a more like a good conversational starter because they can say something more about themselves, because people love to talk about themselves. People love to be heard. Like you said before about jungle analog. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a good
that's
one.
right.
Mm. And one of the things that you experience is if you remember something about them, they and you talk about that in the next conversation, maybe in one day or maybe in 1 year. If you remember something about them, they will be impressed by your. It means that you are care about him or your partner, basically. Yes,
Yeah.
and yeah, but we also practice two things like in mirroring and labeling, and then the second one is debate on TikTok's good or bad. We learn about open-ended question, and we kind of take a little common ground here, like they are listening and they are discussion.
Oh yeah,
That's what I
that's
get.
true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
that's true.
that we have some conclusion right there. I think that's all that we talk about in this podcast. Maybe anything else you want to add, Adil?
I guess that's all.
Okay. So we have passed 50 minutes, but I think that's good enough for now. I think we should end this. Adil, thank you for coming in this podcast. Thank you for telling me about this practice listening skills, and I might have to follow this advice from you. I follow apply this knowledge from you. So I think it's been a productive podcast right now. Thank you so much for this talk, and I'll see you guys in the next week or so. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum.